Hello, my name is Damian Mercado, and today my speech is about cannabis prohibition. Today I'm going to tell you about the destructive consequences of cannabis prohibition and explain the best solution so you can help solve the issue. Although almost half of Americans have tried cannabis at some point, it is still listed as a Schedule I drug by the DEA, resulting in thousands of arrests every year, often focused on minorities and the poor. This results in fines, jail time, and criminal records that prevent thousands from voting and accessing job opportunities. Let's see some of the reasons why the recreational use of cannabis is outlawed, along with some of the consequences. You may be surprised. Cannabis was legal in the United States until 1937. Prior to 1937, hemp fiber from the cannabis plant dominated industries including paper, diesel, and packaging. 1 acre of hemp produces the fiber of 4 acres of trees. According to an article from the USDA in 1918, the federal government not only approved of hemp production, but actually promoted it as a crop that would help grow the economy. It was also legal to pay taxes with hemp up until the 1800s. William Rudolph Hearst and the Hearst paper manufacturing owned vast acres of timber and was one of the strongest players in the paper making industry. The domination of hemp in the market threatened to cut out Hearst from competition, causing him to lose billions even back then. DuPont Manufacturing, one of the largest producers of synthetic materials, including plastics, also felt threatened by the power of hemp in the marketplace. Consequently, the chairman of DuPont, Alan Mello, secretly plotted with Hearst to destroy the competition. While working with J.F. Hoover, Mello appointed his nephew, Henry Anslinger, to the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, and the destruction of the cannabis industry began. Cannabis was declared a danger to society. They adopted the Mexican slogan term marijuana to scare people into believing that cannabis was a foreign threat. Lastly, they began a campaign of yellow journalism with government-sponsored films such as Reefer Madness and Marijuana, the Devil's Weed, falsely linking cannabis use with the psychosis, suicides, and a life of crime. In 1937, the federal government banned cannabis hemp and all of its use. The prohibition of cannabis has also caused a great many modern-day problems. Of the 8.2 million arrests for cannabis possession from 2001 to 2010, 88% were minorities, even though Caucasians use cannabis just as much according to the ACLU. Despite use of cannabis among the races, black people are almost 4 times likely to be arrested despite being only 14% of the U.S. population. In the worst case scenario, citizens have lost their right to vote and face life imprisonment under the 3-strike legislation passed in California for virtually victimless crimes. Let's explore the real effects of cannabis instead of relying on government propaganda. According to a study performed by Brown University, it is virtually impossible to overdose on cannabis. This is in stark contrast to legal alcohol. The National Cancer Institute has determined that cannabis is a very effective pain reliever and an appetite inducer for patients suffering from cancer, HIV, and fibromyalgia. Every day we are discovering or rediscovering the value of cannabis and the hemp fibers. The recent passing of cannabis legalization in several states only furthers the premise that cannabis should be legalized and regulated just like alcohol. The best solution for the problems of prohibition is for citizens to vote for cannabis legalization in all forms. This will provide a nationwide boost in the economy as it has in Colorado. The best method to achieve this goal would be to work with corporations to promote the safe use of cannabis. According to an article by Mint Press, corporate sponsorship would do for cannabis as the media press has done for alcohol. So although the prohibition of cannabis has caused the loss of freedom for many Americans, there are many acceptable solutions. Cannabis was the flagship industry for decades in this country, and we got back to our roots by speaking out for its legalization. As in the old days, we can be a thriving country full of citizens with opinions in their personal life for recreational and in times of medical necessity. The best vehicle for change is your vote and support for political representatives that are actively working to repel cannabis prohibition. You can also support the budding cannabis industries by buying from hemp-friendly corporations and donating to organizations such as NORML. Thank you. Get out there and vote.
Oh, that's okay.
Well,
A lot of information I never knew.
Yeah.
well,